So we're coming today to see Mark and Cam from CSixx Components. Really excited to see what they've got going on in the factory, talk about some of the products that they've got coming out. They've done an awesome job on the chainring for us not too long ago. So they've agreed to take us behind the scenes and show us how they do the amazing work that they do. Excited to see them. Let's get in there. See, there's Mark over there. We are in CSixx with the man, the legend, the founder, Mark. Thank you so much for having us here, letting us shoot in and around the factory, showing us some of the epic stuff you're up to.
Yeah, great.
For those that don't know the brand, that don't know you, will you just quickly introduce yourself and give us a backdrop on where CSixx comes from?
Yeah, so CSixx has been around for a bit. I call it CSixx 1.0 and 2.0. So 1.0 was back in the days, everything was manufactured in the East. I used the factories we used to set up Leot. I started Leot Corporation back in the day with the neck brace. So I used their factories once I left Leot to start CSixx. And then SRAM released their sort of thick, thin chain ring back probably 2011, 2012, which then sort of spelled the death of chain guides, which was where CSixx came from. We were very down-orientated back then, making carbon fiber chain guides. So that happened, and then we sort of did a bit of a restart in CSixx, which led to CSixx 2.0. Okay. I've always wanted to make our product in-house, and just never really gelled with making stuff in another country. Sure. And so we bought a CNC machine, and some of my guys were horrified because I was like, cool, we're learning this. And they're like, what is that? And yeah, so that was quite intriguing, bit of a learning curve, and yeah, made our first chainring and it's just carried on from there. So we try to do everything we can in-house. We're anodizing, cerakoting, CNCing, laser etching. We're designers, CAM engineers. Just leads to a really quick turnaround time on product development. And I think everyone here just loves bikes and loves making stuff. And that's my passion, just creating. You know, I used to do all the design back in the day, and now I'm, geez, what am I doing? Making spreadsheets. But yeah, really enjoying it.
I saw you in the storeroom there earlier, curving over one of the 64s or whatever that ridiculous size chainring was. It's happening.
Basically, this is the office where like everything happens. So design, sales, you name it, admin, everything. But it all starts in this office and basically branches out to the world. So yeah.
From here, you guys rule the world.
I wouldn't say rule the world yet, but that's the goal. We're getting there.
And Fridays after 1 p.m?
Cape Town, Cape Town company. We've done that too, on the beach. No, we work hard. Lots of shipments go out on Fridays to go overseas. It's a good day.
How many countries?
I don't know off the top of my head, but a big one at the moment is Oz. Obviously being on Jayco Alula, but they're based in Italy and some other tour teams, and then Sweden's quite big. But yeah, everywhere. We sell globally.
That Jayco, I mean, we need to get into that, but was that like an immediate, once you guys got involved, that upticked? What was
that's a
sequence of events?
That's huge, because obviously that's it's not an easy thing to get into, especially when they're sponsored by, I wouldn't say our competition, but an OEM brand. And it's just been hard to navigate, but it has been insane. A lot of people don't even know. That's the hardest thing, is people don't know that we're on the team, because
that's why we tell stories.
Well, they buy everything from us.
Yeah.
So we're not in the position where we can just give. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're not Shimano or SRAM head office, but our product's really good and they need it to be able to win. So they buy from us.
Literally, it's an objective decision. We want the best there is.
Yeah. So and that's unfortunately, we'll dive into it later and I'll explain to you exactly why. But yeah, they came to us, liked our tooth pattern on our ring, and off we went.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's insane.
And Aussie markets backing that up, supporting.
Yeah, hugely.
It's amazing.
Oz is our next South Africa, and that's what we want to push and grow. Obviously, worldwide would be nice. Europe's hard to get into, but Oz is next, and I think America has a lot of scope with our custom stuff as well. Just time. We need to get there.
Awesome. Well, let's go have a look in the factory and see what you guys are up to.
Okay, happy days. So yeah, as I
We're going to
said,
navigate from here and unpack to get to the factory.
yeah, so basically, as I said, everything starts here. As you can see, a lot of the stuff is 3D printed. So if you look up here, there's frames and stuff. So that's just glued together 3D things. Mark back in the day, which I'm sure you'll have another episode of sometime, but Mark back in the day used to design frames for a company called CSixx. He was involved in Pyga. Like, he's got quite an interesting journey. But basically, we 3D print everything first because it's cheap. Like, it's plastic, so it's not an aluminium machine. We don't have to cam it. It's a model you do on a computer and off you go. It's not hard. So everything gets 3D printed first, from stems to chain rings to you name it. Everything we make, we 3D print first, and then after that.
Reason being, obviously it's cheaper. Is that so that you can
More cheap and just see that,
interrogate,
yeah. And like, I mean, I can show you some stuff. So have a look here. So basically, like, this would be 3D printed because this was a new ring design we did. So it's a new BCD. So you'll take the crank, we'll ask for the crank from someone, and then basically we'll put this on to see that it fits. Obviously the tolerances are not going to be perfect because it's 3D printed, but it's close enough that we can just make sure we're on the right track, put it that way. So it's mainly just for sizing and stuff. Like, this is something for a motorbike company, but also 3D printed, just to make sure it sits on the cover and like we're happy with the shapes. And
awesome.
Yeah.
Ergonomics, make sure that it fits in there and all the nuance with that. Do other companies have that level of agility? Can they quickly 3D print something, make sure that it works?
I don't think so. I think like having an engineer, a graphic designer, everything in-house is like this is where we're the next step ahead, which really helps us.
Okay. A lot more flexible, a lot more agile. I love a whole drawer of chain rings. That's hilarious. There's one in there that literally looks like the size of a dinner plate.
We can't show you all of that, but yes, we'll keep going. Okay, so yeah, basically, as you go in sales, he does his thing, which is me. I just try and sell the brand, but yeah, Mark sits over there, and then basically we have an engineer. We have to have a certified engineer in-house, because if it's not, it's just, he needs to write everything off, especially the carbon handlebars we lay up, which is in another division in the back there. But yeah, we make carbon bars. He tests every single bar that leaves this place is tested and has a graph. Like, the end goal is to be able to like sell the bar with a written letter signed by Murray, our engineer, to be like, are your bars tested? And it's approved. If you crash, you're more than welcome. You can send it back. We'll test it for you to make sure it's not structurally broken. It's like, it's insane the stuff we can do because we have.
Are there any other products? It's not just the carbon bars.
So the wheel carbon at the moment, the wheels are still imported. The end goal is to start making it. Yeah, it's just time, and yeah, you know, you've got to build.
It's incremental,
yeah. Like, the bars have been a good starting point, and it's been really good. Like, it's cool to see us lay up a bar here. But yeah, I mean, we'd want to lay a bicycle here eventually if we could, but like, you got to build into it, and like, it's expensive. How many are you going to sell? Through worth
economies
like
of scale.
Exactly, 100%. Awesome. So yeah, basically, jig, like, all the carbon stuff's done in here because it's clean in here. Where like there's quite a lot of sealant and swarf and stuff from the machine. So we basically do it here just so it's a clean environment, so the lacquer resin in the bars take better.
Okay, good to know.
Then basically over here is graphic designer / like the guy that does all the design work. So he actually, when I say graphic design, he's more of like a industrial designer. So he actually designs the rings. Okay. So like, if a new ring, like a new crank comes in, for example, or, I mean, we've spoken about chainring. Let's do stem. So basically, a stem will start from nothing. He'll build it, like, check how it looks, like, graphically, is it cool? Like, you can't make a part that's ugly looking.
I was going to say, how important is aesthetics in the design
aesthetics
process?
huge, but then obviously he also needs to know the level between aesthetics and strength. And then lightness, like, you're playing with so many things the whole time, because some folks can be like, oh, it's too heavy. Yeah. But then they don't understand that it's stiffer, because, so it might be 5 grams heavier, but it's stiffer, so the ride will be better in this way. That makes sense.
The eternal battle of cyclists.
Correct. So like, everyone's got their own opinion.
Stiffness, that's the problem.
Exactly. But everyone's got their own opinion, and we find it that. So he basically designs every product we make, whether it's from 2x chain rings to everything we make here, he's done. Which is
surprised he's not at his desk. I would imagine this is the busiest guy.
Yeah, that oak has a big job. It's insane. Then if you have a look there, Johnny's basically you can see his screen.
You can see on the screen what's actually
He's
happening.
the guy who does all the camming and like the programming to the machine. So he's just codes. He loves the code. He knows what he's doing to make the machines more efficient. And obviously our machines run basically 24 hours a day. So what we're constantly doing is seeing how we can better our process. So I mean, I'll actually explain this, what he's doing here. So if you zoom out, basically that's a pallet. So we run pallets so that we can do 6 at a time instead of 1. So let's say it takes half an hour to do 1, it might now take an hour to do 6.
Got you.
For example. And it's just being
less wastage on the materials, right?
Wastage would be the same.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, it would be the same.
Entirely about efficiency.
Yeah, it's more about less time that the operator has to go and put his head in the machine.
Okay.
So more time that the machine's working on its own, which means the operator's free to do.
So when the machine stops, he's taking it out. Yeah, that's the loss. Got you.
That's lost time. Anytime a spindle on a machine is not turning, it's effectively losing.
We're losing money.
That's pressure.
Yeah. So basically, every time we get an order for a new chainring, whether it's a new type of chainring or a new size, or the Steven versus the other one, he does the modeling, and then I take it and I program it so that it can be run on the machines in order to.
And that just never ends. I mean, it's like,
Well, SRAM brings out a new tooth profile, T-type. This is a perfect talking point.
Yeah.
So now we've got, let's say, 480 rings in our inventory. Basically, you've got to go and change at least 50 straight away, because not everyone's going to buy a full group set. They're going to want to put T-type on their bike, but with an old crank, because they don't have the money.
Oh.
So we now need to make that.
we've literally been through the whole process.
Yes, and it does not fit. And it's like the smallest change, but now Johnny has to sit here and program every single thing for the machine.
Are you talking like in microns here, or?
Yeah. 0.1 of a mil, eh?
And is there a reason for that? Is that like planned?
Yeah, of course. I think it is.
There's always a point.
There's always a point. I think they argued that they made the side plates of the chains thicker to have a stronger chain with the same outside spacing. So effectively your inside gets smaller. They also used bigger rotors, so that part of the chain actually had to change in order to accommodate the rotors. Sometimes some of the older chain rings, if they're out of spec, it looks like a chain will go on. But by the time you've wrapped it around, it starts climbing up and out because it isn't actually sitting in the top.
They're a lot more finicky than anyone even begins to realize.
100%. Well, we can do a demonstration to actually show you. I'll show you the difference between with a flat top chain to not a flat top chain and how it wraps around a ring.
Do those guys ever have any interest in engaging with you at like a design? No appetite to collab.
I think they're just also too big. Do you know what I mean? Ours is our bread and butter is chain rings, where they are doing everything group sets. So they make a lot of our business is done on being outside of what they make, if that makes sense. So they'll make a 32, 34, 36, 38, but we'll make from a 26 to a 50, just because. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if they like us because of that. They might say that let's not go.
It's an interesting one to get into, because you've got SRAM, you've got Shimano, and then what else? There's CSixx.
Well, you get,
and then what else?
How many different Well, there are a lot of chainring brands out there. I think we definitely the chainring company that has the most options for sure. We do our research on that. But like you said about Shimano and SRAM, there's other chain brands that are also on the market. So we basically buy chains yearly and backwards make all of our stuff. So everything's backwards compatible. Otherwise, we're just going to take our inventory list and double it. So if you have a SRAM chainring and then a Shimano chainring, we're screwed, because now it's you're making double the amount of work.
Sure.
So rather just make everything fit for every chain that's on the offering.
And do you guys keep tabs on the progress the Chinese are making in terms of their desire to be a bigger player in the group set market? You guys look at that? Do you have any views on that?
Yes and no. South Africa is a huge, I think, factor about this, where in South Africa, people are strong with Shimano and SRAM. I don't think we have the access to many Chinese brands, for example. Yes, bikes are starting to come out with it, but they normally 2 or 3 years behind a SRAM or Shimano.
Sure.
So you're actually okay. Yes, their stuff is really good and it's they've done well. Normally our chain rings fit on their chains straight away, if that makes sense. So it's not too.
So your workload's going to multiply even further as that comes into the fold.
Yeah, as they may develop more, exactly, you never know. But again, it's like what's coming on bicycles to South Africa, what's OEM, what's not.
Yeah.
Like there's not really many bikes besides more entry-level bikes that come with like an L2 group set, for example. It's mainly SRAM or Shimano. Like, so we are lucky for now with that. But I mean, I foresee it becoming an issue in the future, for sure. Because also people are starting to realize you can spend a lot less money on Chinese stuff that works. Not saying it's better or worse, but you never know. Like our whole thing is that we try and suit everyone's needs.
Anyone just being willing to try even a CSixx product, there was a time I hadn't tried it. So
yes.
You stick to
100%. 100%.
And then you see Simon's bike with that red and the little shroom engraved on the sock. Fuck that. Like, there's no ways.
Yeah, that's what you want.
You put and when I got it, they said you might hear a bit more noise on that one that I put on. I haven't heard a single thing. It is bulletproof.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not crazy money. It was like 1,200 rand or something.
Yeah.
It's like.
So our whole thing is like we're a premium manufacturer. We're not entry level. We have competitors who are cheaper than us. Yeah. We believe our price is very fair for what we offer. Compared to like stock as well as competitors out there, our pricing is everything. Because we don't want to be ridiculous. We want to be affordable because we all ride bikes too. Like we all love riding bikes. That's what it's about. You know what I mean? So we put a lot of like effort and design into our rings and how the mud pushes off the like different teeth, for example, and the sizing and like how it catches and the offsets. Offsets is a big thing. Like that's maybe why you got warned about it might be more noisy, because if you have like a 3 more offset compared to a 6 more offset, your chain line is going to be different. So in the granny gear, it's going to make a lot more noise. And sometimes
when you first spoke to me, you said chat to Jamie about the offsets. Like,
yes, correct. Like
step 1,
offsets everything. Like it's your chain line. You always want it.
That's not the banter on the group ride. No one's talking about offsets.
No, correct. No one understands that. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, we want the biggest ring we can have. But then why is it noisy in granny gear? We're like, guys, it's not actually us. It's the manufacturer of the bike. The chainstay can't fit the size of the ring you want.
I definitely don't want the biggest chainring I can have. I'm quite happy with
no
my
dinner
small
plates.
one.
Okay,
thank you. Thanks to see the work you're doing there.
It's going to get a little bit noisy, but let's dive into it. So basically, once everything's done in that room that we were just in, a USB literally gets brought here on foot, which is quite cool. I love it. It's not sent yet. A USB comes and basically it's plugged into the machine, and that will have the program on to be able to run whatever we need. So we start off with a raw block of aluminium. So basically, that's like, this could be a chainring. It's going to become a chainring, if that makes sense. So it's just a raw block of aluminium, different grades for different parts, if that makes sense. So a chainring will be a higher grade aluminium than a stem, for example, or a dropper lever, because it needs to be stronger and like more durable. But that's obviously more expensive. So to keep the cost lower on a stem, we might run like a 6 series instead of a 7 series.
Got you. Sure, that's right.
So basically once that's done, that will then get bolted to like that 6-up pallet that you saw, for example, or however it is, whatever pallet goes onto the machine. And then goes in, it's normally like a 3-step process. So the machine's the top, then it's flipped over, it does the bottom, and then it finishes over. You flip it over again and finishes it all up, which is quite cool. But here's a machine you can see. Let's go to the new big girl. Cool, happy day.
She's a crusher.
Basically, that's making machine. All the different machines do different things. This is our most efficient machine and like the quickest one we have at the moment, which is really good. So up to our production quite a lot, especially with overseas and the 2-bar rings. So this is all like the engineering side, and it's pretty intricate.
Is that a good example of the block?
Yeah. So basically, that's a pallet. So that's the in-machine. I mean, that would be for Shimano crank, and that's op 1 done. So basically now this will be undone, flipped over, op 2 will happen, and then another op after that to finish. So you see why we try and double it up, so it's quicker.
If you've got 6 on there, you can cut 1 time.
Correct. And then after that, it has to all get sanded, so you can see the rolls of sand. So every single chainring has to get sanded, or like deburred, we call it. Otherwise it's got sharp edges on. So
we literally have got the deburr thing there, you can see it.
Correct. So there's like a tool.
You have to have done it to know.
There's a tool that deburrs. basically just a sharp thing on the edge. Okay, after that, you then got to like have a cool offering. So you can't just sell a raw aluminium ring. It's going to either corrode.
Looks pretty cool, I must say.
It is thick. It is very cool, but it's going to corrode. So after like one ride, it might look chipped.
Yeah.
So you got to treat it and also harden it. So we then offer 2 options now, which is quite cool. So we do an anodizing treatment or a Cerakote treatment, basically. Cerakote's like a gun coat. So it's like you spray it on like a spray paint type of effect, but it's quite hard. And then anodizing obviously opens the pores of the aluminium, puts the color inside, and yeah, off it goes. That's quite a journey.
Quite a process.
Yeah, that's hard. Like it's not easy, but it is the best because it hardens the aluminium a lot more, which is quite cool. So I mean, you can walk through. We'll have a look.
What's up with all the motorbikes?
That's how everyone commutes to work.
Legit.
Yeah, because
It's how you beat the...
I mean, Mark one day will explain to you, but the whole thing for him is that he doesn't want to be in an industrial area outside. So Mark grew up, born and bred in Cape Town. He's all about being in Cape Town, in the hub, in the city bowl. So everyone lives in apartments and we all just ride our scooters to work, which is cool.
Rad.
So this is the anodizing plant. We have like 3 baths, but basically...
You do it yourselves?
Yeah, from start to finish. Like we brought this all in-house just because we can control it. So what we had in the past, this was before my time, but what we had in the past is we would send batches to Joburg to get anodized, which is a headache and a nightmare. Yeah. Where now we can anodize something, we can make it this morning, anodize it this afternoon, send it off, or like 24-hour turnaround normally. That being said, it doesn't always work out because we are busy and there is stuff on the go.
You guys are obsessed with controlling.
Yeah, correct. We want to control every step because then we know the quality is going to be the best. And I think our quality has shown that that's why we are who we are. Yeah. I think we're all about quality. And like I said earlier, we premium. So like we can come in and do something quickly, but we'll rather say no if we're not going to back our quality and our name, if that makes sense. Like when something gets put to market, we know it's right.
I would never have imagined you guys do this yourself. Yeah. That's crazy.
So yeah, we have I think 8 different color options, which is mad. Yeah. But it can really come out bad. So if you take a step in here,
see the water boiling there, or not the water.
But also if you look here, so for example, when you start, blue for example,
I didn't see
so
that.
if you start at the bottom, like this is different, it's all the same dye, but it's different times in the bath. So like if you leave it for longer, it goes darker. If you leave it for shorter, it's lighter. But it's like, what do you want? So you have to set an ideal color and make it. And basically it becomes to like service there. It's a, what do you call it? I've gone blank now in maths.
Incremental?
No, it's like not an equation.
Don't know. Blanking out.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But
yeah.
What do you call that thing? It's all to like grams of division.
Yeah. Just the time that it spends in the bath.
Yeah, essentially to surface area to everything. Like it's insane how it all works.
It is an equation.
It is an equation.
Algorithm equation.
Yeah. So everything basically happens in this room with that. It's a bit of a nemesis. I don't know how much of that must show. But
and is this just so you can put stuff on?
Yeah, so this is a jig. Basically, this is how we jig up the part. So this will be jigged up so that it can go into because you can't just hold it there. It's quite hard. The jigging process is quite a lot. This also has to be a certain type of material, otherwise it will also color.
Yeah.
So it's pretty insane. That's for like the little caps.
So
we have a whole lot of different jigs here that we use.
Okay. That is crazy, man.
Which is insane. We're busy now because of Tiger. Like shit.
Cool, that's exciting.
Yeah. We can go in here, it's going to be quite noisy, but this is basically where all of the like sandblasting / spraying happens. So there's like a little spray booth, sandblast, and an oven, because everything needs to be baked. But come have a look. So we offer all the like Cerakote options. So basically it comes in like it's a liquid form. So here's like a pink color. So it's all like anyone can buy Cerakote basically. We just decide the colors we want to do, and it's a liquid form that puts in a spray gun and off you go. So if you have a look in here, you can see we get quite creative with what we do. And then if you can see the effect. And then yeah, Dev at the moment is busy sandblasting. So it'll be sandblasted, prepped to go into the spray booth. Once it's done there, it goes into the oven to get baked at a certain temperature for a certain time, which is quite cool.
That's amazing. Sorry? But you can actually see anything in there.
And then basically in here we basically just have an assembly room. So when all the finished products come in here, and this is where it's all assembled, put together, laser etched before it goes out. We'll do like something cool with a laser etch later for you guys. So all the orders on the table. And then a little bit of stock. So what we try to do is keep some stock of some parts. I don't want to give too much away, but we keep stock of like our most popular rings, basically, just because.
I was going to say, is all this stuff that I'm seeing, all the activity, all the production, is that predominantly driven by just
orders.
Immediate demand and orders?
Correct, orders. It's so hard for us to decide because like some chain rings, literally, put an example, I've been here for 2 years. I don't think I've sold every chain ring we've had. If that makes sense, because they become redundant or the crank becomes redundant, or it will be a one-off. So every now and then you might sell like an odd thing, but we've still got the file, so we offer it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, so we can still do it.
And do you see fads? Do you see trends?
Yeah, for sure. Like SRAM, huge. Like, I mean, SRAM's super innovative. So like a lot of people follow SRAM, and bikes were coming out in the last 3 years since the COVID boom, or 4 years or whatever. We've seen a lot more SRAM bikes come out. And you can see the fad, like 3-bolt was huge, and now all of a sudden 8-bolt is massive. And then at one stage, like 107 for like the cork power meters and stuff were huge. Like, and you just see, like, it's crazy. So then we just adapt and try, like, that's my job. I try to follow trends. Yeah. You see where we can be better and more efficient. I mean, we all go to a supermarket or Woolworths and want something now. So unfortunately, retail people think the same. Okay. And I've got a customer, which is a shop who's got a customer. So you've got to try to keep everyone happy if you can.
Hence the design team and the...
Yeah, correct. So like often someone will come to us and be like, oh, we've got a brand new ring. So like prime example, a 2025 bike came out from a shop up country the other day. He ordered a power meter ring for SRAM. I know off my head that's a 107 ring. It's actually not. Like, true's nuts, they've changed it again. It's now like a 94 BCD. So now we have to get that crank from him. We'll model it up, redesign it, and then send him the ring.
That's amazing. Yeah. One of one.
One of one. But then he helps us by starting the journey. Because in that we'll obviously have the sizes, and there'll be more people that have it. If it's coming on a stock bike in South Africa, we're happy to do it.
Awesome.
Also, often people come to us and say, oh, can you make us one ring? So we're like, yeah, but how much do you want to pay? Because we've got to see return on it. So we've got to see that we're going to sell units. If we're not selling units, we're not going to do it.
So there is a limit. You can't be complete.
Yeah, unfortunately, everyone comes and says, oh, yeah, but can you make this? Or like for some crank from 1925, can you make a ring for us? Unfortunately, we're going to sell one in our whole, like...
What's the most expensive ring you've sold?
Well, no, we haven't actually done that. We normally say no. We rather just say no because then we don't want to like put our name as a bad thing. But yeah, I'll say the 2 bars now the most expensive. And obviously the bigger you go, a dinner plate. I mean, we can find something big.
I'm immediately saw that. That's
basically going
ridiculous.
This is what's,
That must be a world.
No, this is 64. It's not the biggest we've done. We've done a 68. But that's basically will be for like a TT bike probably.
And just that is ridiculous.
Let's see if we can find a 68.
Do you think you could turn a 64?
No. 52.
I definitely can't.
I don't know what it is, but trying to think what else.
What?
We don't have a 68.
Is 68 like the limit? Is that as far as people have gone?
It's like really made to order rings. Like it's not a common ring.
Yeah, a lot more like we said, the Pro Tour team. So like someone like Luke Plaps can use that, or even what's his name who did the Ironman record. The Kona record was broken on our ring. The sub 4 hour bike for a full Ironman.
The recent Kona record was broken using a CSixx chainring.
Yeah.
Custom, obviously.
Custom made. He needed a bigger ring. We had a connection and we gave him the ring for the event. He used it and broke the bike record. He's got the fastest time on a bike. I think it's 3:56 or 58.
Yeah.
First person to ever go sub 4. 180 Ks.
No one else wants that work. No one else is going to take that on. It just doesn't.
I'm sure it'll come as we go, but it's just so cool that our ring was that first ever to be done.
I did a bit of testing development on turbos and I ran 64.8.
Yeah.
Like just trying to get that 64 through the road and just like, you gotta put some power in.
Yeah.
Get that, just the momentum.
Once it's going, it's probably
It rolls, but
Getting it going, especially if you're like, if you're a level 2 car,
Yeah.
and you got 64 in the front,
yeah.
it's a struggle.
Need that hand of God just to get you
Literally.
going.
Pretty much.
but we deal with pro athletes, and that's the insane thing is we deal from someone who is starting to ride a bicycle to someone who, because they need a smaller ring. That's why, like, or they can't push this blade like on a mountain bike. He's going from a 34 on a stock bike to a 28 because he's learning, to someone who's asking us to push the boundaries and offsets and the limits and like, I want to be faster, I want to be faster, I want to be better, which is insane.
How something that people take for granted, my own journey included, and even motocross back in the day, the chain, the gearing makes a huge difference, the number of teeth that you've got. But not a lot of people know that I can make my bike easier to ride by putting a smaller chainring on.
Yeah, 100%.
So
And
whose job is that to educate people?
it's actually
your
the
opinion?
store. I think it's the store. And I don't understand why the stores don't do more of it, just simply because they can make more money. Not in a bad way, but they really can.
Yeah.
And it, like, also, you got to install trust in your customer. Like, he wants to come back with a great experience. So why would you have a guy on a new bike, maybe he's a bit overweight, for example, and now he's going to go ride Takai, I'm going to use mountain as the example, and he's got a 34 blade. The oak's going to find granny gear very quickly, and he's not going to enjoy his ride.
Yeah.
So like, your shop needs to educate it. It's super hard for us to tell the story.
Yeah.
But like, it's super important.
Yeah.
Like, and I know, unfortunately, there's like this big thing about, I want to push a bigger ring, which is cool if you've been cycling for years and you're racing and you understand it. Everyone who wants a bigger ring understands it. But unfortunately, people are now trying to follow the trend, but then they get burnt up or they hate it because they're not used to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you got to ride what suits you. If you're racing like our pro mountain bike teams every weekend, cool, you can push a 38 ring at Epic. But if you're just riding, like, I mean, I rode a batch this year, the whole year at Epic. I rode a 32 ring from start to finish.
Comfortable, no problem.
On the TT stage, I should have probably gone to a 34 or 36. But again, like, we don't want to change rings throughout. We were happy to go. We're not a pro team. I mean, we finished top 100. So we can ride. We rode top 100 on a 32 ring.
It's fast.
And people don't understand, you know what I mean? And that's the reason I'm telling you the story is like, just to put it in perspective. It's not that I'm trying to brag, but it's like you can ride a 32 chain ring to finish top 100 in Epic.
Yeah.
Because the fatigue is less. But people are like, oh no, I need bigger and better. I need more. But it's not always about that.
That job of educating is massive.
Yeah.
I went, that one that I put on the bike, I had the 40, which is for Goldenberg.
Yeah.
Gallows last year.
Yes.
It's like, I don't want to die going up that thing. And
Fair.
Jamie said, go mullet and go 40,
Yes.
C6. Done, did it. I couldn't believe the difference in me.
Yeah.
Now we did the gravel tour to test that bike. It's like we need way more range, like it's going to be a lot quicker.
Yeah.
You're still doing Swartberg, you're still doing 4,000 meter elevation days.
Yeah, you've got to unfortunately, and that's why we offer the thing, is like, you should have.
Your sales team said, go 42, don't go much more. And I was like, oh, but the boys are all telling me 44, like maybe even push a bit bigger. And I listened to him. It was like a definitive moment. That's CSixx this time around.
Yes.
It was literally there and then. He's like, do not go 44. Like, put your ego in your pants, take the 42.
Yeah.
And it was the best decision I ever made. Just those two teeth.
Yeah, it's amazing what two teeth can do.
And I'm thinking to myself, I'm relatively well researched, relatively well exposed. I've like YouTube binged like every other guy does. And I had no idea that would make such a big difference.
Yeah, because that's when it comes down to the finer details.
It costs less
marginal
than
gains.
$2,000.
Marginal gains. People don't understand marginal gains. Like,
I don't think people realize you should have multiple chain rings.
So that was what I was trying to get to now, is like, you should have an offering. Unfortunately, it is hard. Like, people can't change their own chain rings. It does become complicated. But what you should do is have a size curve, and then look at the profile of the course. So like a pro TT athlete is looking at that. Sam Laidlow, who broke the record, is not going to ride our chainring every event, because one event he might want a 2x in a stock size, and he's sponsored by SRAM, then he has to use that ring, for example. It all comes down to what events are you doing, where you're riding. So like on my local bike in Cape Town, I'm going to ride a smaller chainring than I am in Joburg. for example.
Joburg's.
Because Joburg's flatter.
Okay.
Yes, there's
Yeah.
rolling hills,
Yeah.
but you can push a bigger blade. Where, yeah, you go up a mountain, I call it, if that makes sense.
You know what's really annoying is, I'd love your opinion on this. So we, on the road bike side,
Yeah.
almost everyone's going 105 now because
Yes.
the difference between that and Ultegra's becomes so marginal.
Yeah.
And the majority of what we have access to is 50, 36.
Yes.
Even in Cape Town, that's probably not entirely necessary. A 52 is like kind of like ideal.
Yes.
But the guys that are going Ultegra or 105 that are, you know, a bit frothier at the front of the group on a Savage Tuesday, 154 and above, can't get it.
No, you can't. So,
You cannot get it.
unfortunately, Shimano do not make a 55 chainring. They do not make it.
Doesn't exist.
It does not exist. That, and that's,
Even 54, you can only get Durex.
yes,
There's no 105,
That's-
there's no Ultegra
Yeah.
offering, and you know what the price
I mean,
of those things are.
that's unfortunately like South Africa.
Yeah.
Only 1% of the bicycle, or the global bicycle platform, if that makes sense. So we don't get everything.
Yeah.
But
That's where you guys come in, right?
yes,
In-
correct. So we offer everything. And that's like where we came with Jayco Alula. They came to us and said, cool, can you make us a 55 ring? Because we need one,
They
two.
fill out like a lead form on the website. Did they pick up a phone? How does
Instagram.
Jayco Alula contact you?
Yeah, it's a DM.
Please tell me you Jayco.
It's a DM.
Jayco Alula.
So when I say it's a DM, it comes from another company called CSixx Ergonomics, which is a TT brand. I'll show you their logo. This is their brand. So there's a guy in Aussie whose brand it is. He is all about bike fit and setup and how you can optimize going fast and being the most efficient, marginal gains everywhere, if that makes sense. Like to the extent of a wind tunnel. I've been in a wind tunnel with him, which is like, that's mind blowing.
Specifically for chainring R&D.
Not at that time. It was
Okay.
for the bars, for example. Like, it's also hard. You must understand this is such a small portion of the bike. But yes, when we designed this product for him, we designed a cover on the back to make it more aero because he believed.
Okay, it's
So,
like,
unfortunately, it's not worth
Like
the
a 1%
monetary.
to cut
Correct.
down.
It's not worth the money to go and test this in a
Yeah.
wind tunnel. But his belief is that it would
Yeah.
help. So we've got, and to stiffen it up. But yeah, basically, he DM'd us, said, oh, I love your stuff.
do you know how he saw your stuff? Where?
I don't know if someone maybe in South Africa may have shown him who's connected. There's like talk about it. I don't know the exact story, but there is someone who may have just been like, oh, check this out or sent it to him.
Epic.
And he reached out and yeah.
So how long from Jayco reaching out to you, from them reaching out, product being made on the bike? What does that timeline look like?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, it's a person who's not in Jayco themselves, but has a good relationship, and he's parts the CSixx brand. He supplies them with TT bars for their TT bikes. But basically, he came to us, I think, 3 months before Tour de France and Olympics, because I mean, last year Tour de France ended on the one weekend, Olympics started the next weekend, and obviously most of the riders will do both, if that makes sense. So it was 3 months. We had 3 months to
Crazy.
go, and it's actually a touchy subject for me because Grace Brown, the Aussie lady who won gold, had our ring on her spare bike on the roof of the car, not on the bike.
Oh, no.
Because for her bike, with being a small frame, we didn't have enough time to make the right offset, and she wanted a 64 instead of a 62. Okay. So she ran a 64, and the bike on the car had the 62 on CSixx branded. Can you believe it? So
crazy.
Yeah, Luke Plapp unfortunately crashed out at Olympics, but he also had our ring. And then at the tour, that was all one by stuff. It was never two by. It was always one by. So it was mainly the TT stages that it was used, and only the flat ones. So like the final stage of last year was a TT stage, but it was in Monaco and they went to upper climb. Couldn't be used. So everyone ran 2x. But then obviously they can't get the 2x ring big enough. So then I was there, and that's when the question came, Cam, since you're from CSixx, can you make a bigger 2x range for us? And I was like, we can do anything we want.
Of course I can.
Like, let's go. Like, this is why we're here. Let's do it. And that obviously came to the 2x for just the normal days as well. So like on a normal sprint day, they'll run our rings instead of Shimano ring just because
Crazy.
they need a 55.
So is that the main impetus for you guys getting involved with Shimano Chainrings?
Yes.
So I remember when I first spoke to you, it was not...
We still don't have a
Yeah.
SRAM 2x.
Yeah.
We don't make a SRAM 2x yet.
Okay, that's
the
interesting to know.
I think it's been almost a year now because it's almost July. There's just been developing literally 2x rings for Shimano. It is not easy. Like,
I was going to say, how complex is it and why?
again, we don't want to be 50% of Shimano. We want to be equivalent. We're not an aftermarket brand. We're a premium brand to go with or along. So we actually, I like to say we performance enhancement, if that makes sense, just because we have the offering that they don't offer at the same shift quality. And that's important. Like your ring can't bend. Your shifting has to be impeccable. It can't slip, like it has to be good first out. And just the quality of everything, start to finish, has to be insane.
That's obviously hyper complex.
Yeah, it is. Like I think we've been through 15, 16, 17 different iterations of 2x. And that's not us approving it. We all ride it. I was riding rings on my bike, like the guy said to at the back, or like just testing rings, but unfortunately it needs to be approved by the Aussie. So this has cost us money. Every time we make a ring, we send to him. He rides it, or Plap rides it, or like we had people just testing. Like it's insane. It's actually just frightening to think where.
And what does some of that feedback look like? Is it?
Well, sometimes they'll get it. Well, sometimes they'll get it, and half an hour later he'll say, "It's shit, redo." Literally, and that's how it is. Like it's blunt. Like that's what you're dealing with. Back to a meeting, back onto the thing, and that's where shame, the design.
Are they a bit more constructive than that to help you?
Yeah, of course. He'll tell us where to improve it. He's not going to just throw it under the bus and be like, "It's shit," like that. But he's like, "I think it's shit because of X, Y, and Z. Let's do X, Y, and Z to fix it," and that's what he does.
Okay. Would you say every iteration of feedback had a step gain?
I think, to be very honest, and this is my personal thing, is we went forward to go backwards to go forward.
Fair enough.
And I think you have to do that because you might try to change something drastically that you think will work, but then it doesn't. Also, as we're learning, as we're developing, we're learning. So we're like, and then an idea comes like, should we try this? Or should we not? But you're going up against someone who's been designing rings for 100 years.
And for themselves.
Correct.
In a way that they don't want other people to be able to replicate.
Like it's insane. But yeah, 2x running. It's used at the Tour de France this year. It won a Dutch race the other day. Unfortunately, the stage Plappy one was a climbing stage, so he rode a 54, not the 55. But I am soon to believe, I'm hoping we'll win a stage of the Tour. It's a big deal. For me, that will be everything. What
does that celebration look like at CSixx HQ?
I mean, again, this company's come from such an enduro and downhill background of mountain biking to Cameron being like, no, XC road, let's go gravel. That's where the push is. But no, there's frothers, we love it. We all ride bikes. We all ride a range of bikes. So I think a celebration like that, there has to be a few beers with the boys somewhere.
Minimum.
It can't not be.
It's a good segue to, in terms of CSixx on the range.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you cover and what don't you cover?
So
as we stand here today,
as we stand
26th of May 2025.
What do we have?
Probably be very different in a month.
Let's put it does. And so thank you for saying that, because literally a product gets added every day, basically, every second day. I think our product list is almost 1,000 now, SKUs, and that's without colors. And we offer 17 colors plus custom colors. That's just mad. Yeah. So basically everything on a bicycle we want to eventually be able to do. It obviously gets intricated and expensive, so we pick our battles where we can. But I think let's walk through a bike. I'll on a bike physically show you what we do, if that makes sense. So this is Dave's bike, obviously. It doesn't have all of our stuff, but I'll just show you what we do. Wheels, so we offer road bike, mountain bike wheels, which is quite big. Hubs, we got, and gravel, all three. Thank you. Hubs for road and gravel, we use outsourced Hope. We have our own branded mountain bike hubs, also just imported. We don't make them here. It's just machinery limits and.
Sure.
Moving from there, we then don't do cassettes and chains. We leave that to the big guys to do. We have no interest there at the moment. It's just worth it for us. Super intricate part, expensive, and I think you need to mass produce it if you're going to do it. We do Dorelli cages to stiffen up cages. We haven't done one yet for that, so the XX range or the new T-type stuff. But we do cages for Shimano, SRAM, Axis, mainly 12-speed stuff because it's been the last. That's been for the last.
It's become the norm.
Yeah, so it's mainly that stuff. Then moving more forward, we do chainrings. Chainrings are bread and butter. I think, like I said earlier, it's just over 480 rings now we make, variants. and different interfaces.
Multiple race winning teams run them locally. I mean, that's
Yes, I mean, like locally we have, I mean, in Buku run them. Some of the stuff on Honeycomb is run by them. It depends where they get their stuff from. Haley Preen uses it all the time. Matt Beers, let's talk about that. That's the perfect example. Matt Beers is like such a big development man for us. He has helped us so much with developing an offset because
feedback.
Huge. So
he obviously needs to push specific.
Yeah, he gets the ring he wants because we just love him and he's helped us so much.
Okay.
And that's what it's about. South African, I mean, Alan Hatley's bike that he raced this weekend where he crashed had our chainring on it. If you go and zoom in, you'll see a towel ring. Again, it's mainly unbranded stuff, but yes. So in the local market, a lot of the teams are running it and are super strong on them. Not so much in the roadside yet, but gravel huge and mountain bike.
And gravel and mountain bike obviously specifically lend themselves well because of the fact that it's one bar.
Yes,
two bar was historically
exactly.
a limitation.
So like 2 bar, like the big pushes overseas, and we wanted to get that right before we introduce it to this market. Also, not in an ugly way. Like I said earlier, South Africa doesn't get access to the best of the best. So most of our 2 bar rings is we've designed off Dura-Ace, and like the caps that we do are mainly Dura-Ace. So like we're a bit slower at designing for Ultegra and 105. Not that we don't have it, we have it, but it takes longer to do because we've designed all the stuff around Dura-Ace. So that's all like the forward thinking for overseas, and now we'll come in and do the normal stuff. We also in the process of doing a 52 and a 50. We haven't done that just yet. Like
and that's your mass market.
Correct. So we're getting to the mass market, it will come. We also need to run the product. Like, does it work? Longevity, does it not work? If it can get through a Tour de France, we know it works, if that makes sense. And that's our tick, so then we can do it. So yeah, chain rings. We do C-post clamps, which is pretty cool. Also, more just like to customize, do like a build kit for a bike, mainly mountain bike side still too. Moving forward, we do stems, gravel and like mountain bike mainly. So we offer enduro stem as well as like an XC stem, which can be used on a gravel bike. And then if you want to shoot that, you can look here quickly. So I mean, there's our stem, for example, that's our XC stem. So that would be, on most mountain bikes, you can cross that over to a gravel bike. Road bike, a lot of the stuff's now integrated, one-piece bars and stuff. We're not there yet, again, hard to do. We do make handlebars in-house for mountain bike, which is a flat bar and a riser bar, both 31.8 and 35. So that's another quite a cool covering. Again, a lot of the teams run this. Quite a few of the Honeycomb guys, Insect Science run these.
Endless with options.
Yeah, so we make a 760 SL with a rider weight limit, as well as an 800 with a non-rider weight limit, and you can cut to where you want. So we just make 2, and then you can cut accordingly. And then we make like dropper post lever, on-frame storage to like hold your jacket or your banana or your tube or whatever you want to hold. And then we do quick caps, which is quite cool. So that would be something like this. So it's super customized. So like for me at Epic, I just had my name on and just
love that.
Cool branding.
Yeah.
So that's quite cool. Just small like attention to detail stuff just to tie it all in. So like for Dave's bike, what he'll get next for his bike is probably his name with a quick cap or top cap or whatever he wants, splattered in the same color effect just to tie it all in and match. That's kind of what we do. And I think that's mainly like the range, if that makes sense. We do some other like chain guides, and a gravel guide's quite a big thing as well, especially for the road market now, as well as the gravel scene, because it's so bumpy. We also do try and make our rings perfect, so you don't need to run a chain guide.
800 Ks from George back to here, all gravel.
And you didn't lose a chain.
361 on the weekend, which was gnarly as fuck. It was ridiculously tough.
Fair.
There's no need for a chain guide.
Yeah. So that's what I want to hear.
Does not budge.
Yeah. So that's what I want to hear. If you want the peace of mind, you can put the chain guide on. Like we've designed it for that.
Not even a hint of it.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous how good it is, honestly.
So I mean, that's all again, the marginal gains in how good our tooth profile is and how much time we put into that.
And when you talk about tooth profile, are you literally, because I've like really zoned in and had a look at the shape of those teeth. Is that
that's the tooth?
Is that where a lot of your secret sauce is baked in?
Of course.
The actual shape of that tooth.
Of course. So it's how it pushes the mud, how it does this, how it does that, how it bites the chain, how it doesn't bite the chain. like, I don't want to give too much away there. That is our secret sauce, I would say. And that's why we got approached by a tour team, is because of that. No other reason. The guy that approached us had option to any chainring manufacturer in the world. Why did he come to a South African guy? Because he loved our tooth profile.
I love that story.
Which is insane. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's our IP. That's where we've done well. Yes, people can take it and copy it, but
good luck.
Yeah, correct. Good luck. And yeah. And
now that we've seen what we've seen, sincerely good luck.
So yeah, from that side, that's huge. We basically cover everything. And I mean, there's big news in the pipeline, which I'm sure we'll get down to in the future.
You're going to have to come and update us.
Yes.
And in terms of guys, for anyone that watches this that hasn't dealt with you, that hasn't dealt with CSixx, what does dealing with CSixx look like? I mean, obviously you can go to a guy like Hatton Cycles, CE Cycles, which is normally my interaction points. They deal with you guys. Can people come direct?
So
what does that engagement look like?
We do offer direct to consumer, but it's not our everything. We do it mainly because of overseas. We want our brand to grow overseas, so we do it overseas. But in South Africa, if a guy orders online, we normally ask him what shop he's from, and we send it through the shop. We love looking after our dealers, and I mean, we're probably in every single dealer in the country. So every single dealer's heard from us. Don't be scared to ask your dealer and push them for custom stuff. Sometimes they don't want to do it because it's a headache, but it can be done. Or you can order it through me, I'll send it to the dealer for you, they can pay us, you pay them, and they're still happy. We need bike shops in this country to keep the bicycle industry alive. Like, they're super important. So yeah, I'm huge about not selling always directly to customer, but mainly to look after the shop. And like someone like whoever your local bike shop is. I mean, you can be in Joburg.
You talk about offsets and you talk about...
Yeah, correct. They understand.
My altered view, and this is off the back of doing all this gravel riding to test the limits of this bike and make sure that it ticks the boxes.
Yes.
I've never had the mindset of you need to own 3 different chain rings, but I'm like, you need to own the same as you have how many pairs of Oakleys at home, or how many sets of pace protocols, or how many sets. You don't need the multitude of things that we have. But instead, like, practically, you need ideally 2, maybe 3 chain rings.
Yeah, I would say 3. You'd have your wherever you live, you'd have a ring that suits all year round. And then you're obviously going to do events. Like, we all love doing events, whether it's for winning or having a beer on the finish line to do it with your mate. Like, no matter how you want to do it, you might need a different chain ring, and it's huge. The chain ring also wears. Like, people don't understand that. Like, it's a consumable part. So
what's typical lifespan?
It's hard to say. I have guys that message me that say they have 25,000 plus kilometers on our rings, and they still work because he's changed his chain every so often. We don't put a lifespan on it. They are durable. They'll last. But it obviously does
case
wear.
by case basis.
Correct. Case by case, and it does start wearing. Like, it's excuse me, it is a movable part. But yes, offsets are super important. Different chain rings are super important. So like on this bike, for example, that's a 42, so that's a 6 mil. When you go to a 46, you might have to run a 3 mil because it's not going to fit on the chainstay.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like that's where you're
not going to know that.
Correct. Like a bike shop's going to help you with that.
Yeah.
We want to find out something that can help educate the customer better with that, but it will come. Unfortunately, everything's growing so quickly. But yes, I think
it's not a major thing to change it either, right? I mean, I'm not one that advocates for, like, be able to do the basics on your bike, like a minor service.
Yeah, you should be able to do it.
I mean, when I need to change a chain ring, like, I'll pop down to Jamie or Clint and just rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Spaces, all that jazz. But I mean, watch them do it. I mean, you're talking minutes.
Yeah, it's not hard, especially if you know what you're doing. Yeah. My biggest thing is...
Like, if you go to your bike shop, God willing, they could sort you out while you wait.
100%. If you spend X on a bicycle race, surely you're going to spend X to service your bike so you can finish the bicycle race that you spent. Like Epic, for example. Let's use that. It's flipping expensive. We all know how expensive it is.
Yeah.
Over 100 grand for an entry. You can't tell me you're going to go there with a bike unserviced. So there's no reason he's not going to change your chainring in the service for free. He's going to check your BB anyway.
Yeah.
So if you have the ring at home,
major difference.
Correct. If you have the ring at home, just say to him, you know what, listen, I've looked at the profile of this event. I think I need to run this. He'll probably give you advice because he knows the event, because he's probably riding it. And you can have a discussion about it and be like, okay, cool, I want to run the 42 this weekend instead of the 44 because I think there's one climb there that's going to hurt me.
Yeah.
Perfect. Put it on.
Yeah. While you're pedaling, you're going to need that.
Yeah.
You're not pedaling on the flats there. There's no flats there.
100%.
So you may as well have the. What did you say you ran at 32?
Yeah, everyday at Epic and Ollie Munich.
Yeah.
He's done it 16. It was his 16th Epic. I was lucky enough to do it with him. My first question to him was, what size chainring are we going to ride? Obviously, being in the game.
Yeah.
After looking at the elevation, being like, this is my biggest stage race I've ever done. And he looked at me and said 32. So I was like, okay. Like, I was like, yo, I think we're stronger than a 32, but like, that's fine, Ollie. Like, I'll back you.
Yeah.
When we finished, the first thing I said to him was like, I'm so thankful you made me ride a 32 every day.
And you are strong, so.
Well, like I said, and that's why I threw in the number there, like, yeah, we're close to top 50.
Could be a 30.
Yeah.
Could be a 28.
Correct. Like, people mustn't be scared to ask for different chainring sizes.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
Like I said, it's the most misunderstood, overlooked components. I mean, 99, I reckon, the vast majority of people changing that for visual. It's like the best visual upgrade in terms of like rands for what you get over and above like a frame.
Yes.
That pops. I've had so many compliments.
Yeah.
Like,
so agreed.
did you
visual.
score Q20 on it? Like, okay, haha. And then it's something like, fuck, that looks sick.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's I'm not saying it's nothing, it's money, but it's insignificant in the grand scheme of it.
It's not a wheel set.
But it's completely transformed my own view on how important those teeth are. It's like you got to have a handful.
But I also think, just to interrupt you, it's not only from a visual effect. Is the performance gain is so
No,
big.
that's what I'm saying. It's humongous. Like I completely underestimated that.
People don't realize, like you can go and buy a wheel set that's deep and it looks so sick.
Yeah.
But you're going to spend, you can buy 30 chainrings for the same price if you want.
And this whole one bike to rule them all, I mean, all I need for this to be super competent for a cycle tour is 54 on there.
Yeah, so Simon Stoffberg, prime example.
Loves his 54.
He was in your studio.
Yeah.
He loves gravel riding, but he wanted to do a sub 3 at Argus.
Yeah.
So he said, Cam, I need a chainring for Argus and I need a chainring for my gravel riding.
Everything else.
He has 2 chains,
Yeah.
so you need a longer one, and off he goes. When he does cyclotron, he's riding his road bike, his gravel bike that's now road converted. He bangs out a sub 3 in that, and then when
I literally watched him do it.
Yeah.
At no point was he struggling.
No,
It was like,
he loved it. It was insane. And that's why it's so important. Like people don't
chainring and tires.
Yeah. Or literally chainring and tires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cam, what do we have over there? That looks like a bit of kit that's got a story.
Yeah, so like I said to you earlier, I went to Olympics this year, which was pretty insane, and tour, just to see our products. I was lucky enough to be the face of CSixx. But yeah, Plappy gave us his tri-suit that he wore at Olympics. He actually crashed in front of my eyes, like it was...
Right in front.
Yeah, like it was crazy. And he was doing so well. I think he was going to podium. We were definitely on for bronze, maybe a silver. But yeah, unfortunately he crashed. I think there's a tear somewhere in it. The back, yeah. But yeah, he basically sent it just to say thank you to everyone here just because he loves our product. And we made him a custom one with the Aussie colours.
So
for his Olympic journey, which
what
is
a moment.
Yeah, it's insane. Young man, this oak has huge scope. He's just won a stage at the Giro.
Yeah.
And someone to watch who loves our product, which is good.
Epic, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super interesting. So CSixx started as a full downhill brand. And then as staff have come on board, we sort of changed. So it went from downhill to enduro, to trail, to marathon. And then recently with Cam coming on board, we know he's a bit partial to the Sea Point road ride scene. So now we started the road thing, and it's done really well for us.
So the team has had an active role in pivoting the business in different directions 100%. Based on their passions, their interests.
100%, yeah. So we've got all the guys here. So I think the only thing we're missing is a trials rider. But other than that, we
work in progress.
Yeah.
And your personal preference out on the bike?
With business race and time, it's just e-bike for me. I can get out the house 25 minutes, get 2 runs down the glen. Yeah. I love the gravity side. Gravel's interesting these days, just purely from just getting out there and seeing the world. So if we go camping, we'll take some gravel bikes with and go for a cruise. But for me, e-bike is my vibe. Yeah.
Awesome. Mark, thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And
thanks for pulling in.
Seeing all the exciting stuff we know you're getting up to.
Yeah, and there's lots more coming.